welcome to the Velocity Podcast. We've got another special guest with me, and that's Mr Andy Bolton. How are you doing, Andy?
I'm doing good, mate. Thank you.
Good, man. So just to kind of jump straight in there, we'll not kind of beat around the bush, just an introduction of you, who you are, your background in the fitness industry, and kind of your achievements, what you've done in your career, if that's okay, mate.
Yeah, I started off lifting weights about 18. First started off in bodybuilding. Did a competition after 2 years. Never really enjoyed it. Didn't like the dieting and things like that. So I moved in, met a group of powerlifters towards the end of my bodybuilding career. Asked me to join them. So from 20 years old, I started doing powerlifting.
Right.
World championships twice as a junior. At 24 years old, I got asked to go to World's Strongest Man circuit. So I started doing strongman from 24 up to being 29, my last competition in 1999, when I tore my bicep, and then I returned back to powerlifting in 2000. Continued that then right up until I retired. It was all about powerlifting from that point on. First man to deadlift 1,000 pounds in 2006. Then I broke it again in 2009. I pulled 1,008 pounds. Squatted 550.5 in 2007, the Arnold Classic champion, WPO Arnold champion, 7 world titles, 15 British titles, multiple all-time world records, and that brings you up to now, really. Yeah. Then obviously in 2015, suffered kidney failure, on dialysis for 4 years.
Wow.
And I had a transplant 12 months ago. It's 12 months ago this month, last week, just gone. So now I'm back healthy again and feeling good.
So obviously you kind of give us loads of information and a couple of things that I want to highlight with you. So going back to kind of earlier in your career, you obviously started off in bodybuilding, like you say, transitioned into the powerlifting strongman events.
Yeah.
What was kind of your like motivation to do that? Was it just because you didn't, bodybuilding wasn't for you and you wanted something else where you could obviously be in the gym and compete? Was that just kind of the main reason you started?
Well, what from bodybuilding, you mean? When I first started bodybuilding?
No, sorry, from your transition to bodybuilding into powerlifting strongman.
Okay, well, bodybuilding. I started in bodybuilding and I really enjoyed the training, but I didn't know anything about powerlifting or strongman. I watched strongman on TV.
Right.
There were nobody local to me doing strongman. So
right.
I didn't know doing powerlifting, you see. So that's all I knew was bodybuilding. So we started off in that, and while I was bodybuilding for 2 years, I met a group of powerlifters who all competed in IPF, and they were European champions, world champions, and they kept on telling me, "You're wasted in bodybuilding. You're not built for bodybuilding." Quite a thick waist. I didn't have the genetics for bodybuilding. I was very strong in the gym, but I just didn't look the part. So after dieting as well for 12 weeks, then I thought, you know what, I like my food too much to be doing this. It just killed me.
Yeah.
So they said to them, after I'd done this first competition, I'd jump in with these lads and do some powerlifting. And then when I joined them at 20 years old, I think I competed after 3 or 4 months in the Yorkshire Championships. And I squatted 270 first time out, benched 155, and I think I deadlifted 335 in first competition.
Wow.
And I was just hooked. I just loved the fact that you could train hard, train heavy, and you weren't judged on how you looked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You were judged on what you could lift. And I just got so much attention from that, because coming from nowhere to started breaking world records more or less straight away within a couple of years. Yeah. So see, I was hooked from there on.
Yeah, so that appealed to you a lot more, just being able to demonstrate, rather than aesthetically, it's more your strength.
Yeah. Well, realistically, I was never going to make it to Mr Olympia. I mean, I'm you've got to be realistic with yourself. And when I looked at my photographs after bodybuilding, I was probably the biggest one there. But the guys were smaller than me, were beating me comfortably, because they were better shape than me.
Yeah.
Small waist, you know what I mean? I had a big waist, thick waist. I had good legs, big back. Didn't have much arm, not going to be a big biceps. I wasn't built for bodybuilding, to be honest with you. But I was realistic. I wasn't going to make it great in that sport.
Yeah.
So it's moved to something that I was going to be the best at.
Yeah. So was that transition, so as soon as you did your first show, which you've obviously just said, or your first competition, from there, was it like, that's it, this is what I want to do?
Yeah. From having the first bodybuilding show, maybe having a week off after that, straight to the powerlifting.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
was the training for that like more enjoyable for you? Was it easier to for you to kind of jump into that and be focused and get into that routine?
Yeah, well, what I learned as a bodybuilder, you train all out all the time. And I were the type of guy, even at a young age, when I first walked into the gym, I could squat 180 kilos, I think I squatted for 23 reps, 22 reps, and I passed out afterwards. I had that mindset of I could go until I collapsed. But in bodybuilding, the training, it suits the training in bodybuilding because you've got to work hard every session. You can't have an easy session.
Yeah.
So when I moved to powerlifting, I was in that same mindset. But these powerlifters I was working with were experienced at a world level. You know, they're all junior lifters, but they were very experienced, and a lot of them in the British team at the time. So they introduced me to the way to cycle your training. You know, it's not all about the strongest lifting it all out every session. You're working up to a peak over 8, 10, 12 weeks. So as soon as I got my head around that, and the very first, Brian Reynolds, which he was one of my main training partners, he was IPF world champion in 1992. I think he won it. He beat Steve Goggins, which is a big name powerlifter. Now, Brian was 22, a junior, and he won the IPF World Open Championships as a junior.
Wow.
And he was one of my main training partners. My first program, we cycle out. I've still got it to this day in a little book, in a box upstairs. I mean, I kept every diary from this point on. I've got a diary for the last 20 odd years of training.
Wow. So they kind of helped you with your periodizing your training and progressing it correctly and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then did you see that your numbers fly up when you started incorporating that and much more progression?
Every competition got stronger. Every competition. I mean, my first total was 770. I competed 3 months later. I did 790. Then my next competition was about 845.
Wow.
Then I went 885. I won the British Championships in IPF. Then I broke 900, 945, 960, 967. Then I did over 1,000 kilos as a junior at the World Championships in 1993. So I won the juniors and the Open as a junior. So that was 1993. And I think then that's the year that I decided to change, because at the time it was only IPF and WPC. There was drug-free and non-drug tested.
Right.
There were no other federations like today. Everything's so split now. And I've beaten the best lifters in the WPC. So there's nowhere to go. So I got a little bit bored, if I'm honest.
Right.
I couldn't see any more competition at the time. So I got a call then from David Webster, who won the World's Strongest Man. Doug Edmonds, David Webster said, "Do you want to do some strongman?" I said, "I'd love to do it." It was a dream as a kid. So I competed in strongman from 94 right up until 99.
Right.
But the thing is with strongman, it was similar to bodybuilding. I never loved it.
Right.
You know what I mean? I enjoyed the static strength, but the events, learning the events, and back then we didn't have the equipment. Not like today, every gym has strongman equipment. Back then it didn't have strongman equipment.
Yeah.
So I didn't know how to do certain things. And I trained with Jamie Reeves for quite a while. I'd go down to Sheffield and train with Jamie every weekend, and he taught me a lot about strongman.
Yeah.
I was good at it. I wasn't great. I got invited to World's Strongest Man twice. I never went. One time I got injured, and the other time I was preparing for a big powerlifting championships, and they asked me to go on like 4 weeks' notice.
Right.
And I was going to be against Mariusz Pudzianowski in China.
Right. Yeah.
And I was 160 kilos.
Wow.
And it was going to be in China with that heat and, being so humid. I felt like they were almost trying to set me up, because Andy Bolton, the world's greatest deadlifter at the time.
Yeah.
And we were going to go against Mariusz in the heat, and they're going to put in a deadlift for reps event in there. I'm 160 kilos, 4 weeks notice against somebody in Mariusz is class. It was super conditioned. It had destroyed me. So I almost felt like it was set up for him to beat me. Yeah. So I said to him at the time, if you give me 6 months' notice, I'll happily go against him.
Yeah.
But I never heard from him again.
Wow.
I never got any more calls. So that's what happened back then.
So your heart was then obviously, and it always has been, powerlifting. Powerlifter at heart.
Always. Yeah. I remember doing a strongman show. Sorry. I remember doing a strongman show back then, and I was pulling a truck. And I remember halfway through the course, I stood up. I'd have stopped. And I was going, "What are you doing?" I said, "You know what? I'm not enjoying this. I don't enjoy this."
Wow.
I didn't enjoy it. I'm doing something I'm not enjoying.
So even mid-competition, you're like, you don't even know why you're doing it.
Yeah.
You've got no passion
no desire
for it.
A few times I did. A few competitions I enjoyed.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the training and testing myself in training. But when I got there, at the time, strongman were very small. It was run by 2 people.
Right.
There was no way to qualify to get to Worlds. So if your face didn't fit, if they didn't invite you personally, you wouldn't go. I couldn't win a show here. I say, right, if you win this show, Andy, I'll come top 3, you go to Worlds. But none of that back then. You invited to these shows in Scotland. If they liked you, you went.
Yeah. Right.
You didn't. Well,
so
now
it's very much a cultural thing rather than like a qualifying thing.
It was, because now it's changed completely. Now these guys have got a route to go.
Yeah.
They've got qualifying jobs, which is how it should be.
Much like bodybuilding and a lot of other sports where you qualify, you go to the next one and you work your way up. So I get that. So you mentioned already that you were the first man ever to pull over 1,000 pounds deadlifting.
Yeah.
And then you rebroke that and pulled, was it 1,008 pounds that you pulled?
1,008, 1,008.
So what was your training up to the point of doing 1,000 pounds like? Did it change in any way? Was 1,000 pound a goal, or what was kind of the mentality around it?
Well, from when I first broke in 2000, right, let's go back to 2000. So 6 years before I did the record.
Yeah.
That's when the WPO started to come in. WPC, WPO started to combine a little bit. And that's the first competition we did, the World Championships in Las Vegas, where they actually give prize money out. Because it was starting to transition into what everybody knows as WPO Championships. Right. So I remember lifting there and winning the 140 kilo class, and Gary Frank won the 140 plus class. And the world record deadlift at the time was 405, like Herrick Badenhurst, who competed in World's Strongest Man. Now, he were a big-time powerlifter before strongman. And it's somebody I looked up to and followed a lot. And I broke his world record there, 407 I pulled.
Right.
In 2000. And that was like a big, record to take out. So from that point on, 407, then I pulled 410, 412, 415. The record, the all-time record at the time was 419. So I went to South Africa, Cape Town in 2001. And I thought the record was 417 and a half, I'd been told. So I pulled 418 there. Yeah. And I thought I broke the all-time record. Later to find out, Gary Heisty, American lifter, I pulled 419. So I was still a kilo behind him. Right. So then I went to the British Championships 3 or 4 months later and pulled 420.
Right.
And then I had the all-time record. Then I was just creeping it up. I went 421 in New Orleans in 2002, 420. Then I pulled 421. Then Gary Frank beat it and did 422.5. Took me out. And then I went to the Arnold Classic 3 months later and I pulled 423 and took it back. Then I did 425, 427. And then Benedict Magnuson come along and pulled 440. Wow. He crushed my record by 12.5 kilos. But when Benny did 440, that same day I competed against him. I just squatted 520 and benched 310. Benny squatted 60, he benched 60, and he waited for me for deadlift to take me on. I was tired by this point. I went there for the full show. Yeah, I wasn't just a deadlifter, I was a powerlifter. I believed in building totals. Yeah. So he took me out, he pulled 440. I tried 441, got it to my knees. I couldn't lock it out. I was tired by then. This was November 2005, this was. So then in 2006, I went back to the Arnold and I squatted 520 again, benched over 310. and pulled 441. I took the record back again, but
Yeah,
after doing 3 lifts, after doing squat and bench again.
Right. Okay.
So that was in March of 2006. So then we went on to, then I thought, but going back 2 years before this, Jeff Everson had said to me at one of the Arnold Classics, I'll give £10,000 to the first man who pulls 1,000. And I laughed at him because I said, well, that won't be done. Because at that point, I was only pulling 425s. And obviously 30 kilos on top of that,
Yeah.
at that level, is massive.
Yeah.
So anyway, I laughed at him. And then after pulling 441, after squatting 520 and all that, I thought, you know what? I can do this. And I thought, if I don't do this now, Benny's going to do it for me.
Yeah.
Because Benny, when he pulled 440, he actually tried £1,000 after that. And it didn't move off the floor.
Wow. Okay.
I thought, oh, okay. So then I went to New York and I pulled 1,003 for the first time. But so I knew, so going back to the training, I would think training changed. When you're pulling big deadlifts like that, you need to be on a roll of 2, 3, 4, 5 years of pulling big deadlifts after big deadlift and not failing deadlifts to get your body accustomed to that load. You're not going to go from pulling 400 one year to 450 the next year. It doesn't happen like that, you know. And as long as you're not failing deadlifts time and time again in competitions, I was almost using this as stepping stones. So my body were getting adjusted, my grip were getting stronger as I progressed on the deadlifting competitions over them 5-6 years.
Wow.
And ultimately, then I pulled £1,000 in 2006.
Yeah.
But then to break it again took 2.5, 3 years to break it by 2.5 kilos.
Yeah.
People think, oh, you pulled that, why can't you go more? It's not like that level. You're working on a fine point something of a percent, you know what I mean? Anything goes wrong. And I missed it. I attempted £1,000 6-7 times. I only pulled it twice.
Right.
You know, so everything's got to align. You know, it's not a lift you can just go and do. And people say to me sometimes, oh, I bet you did it in training first, didn't you, to see if you could do it? I'm thinking, no. People don't understand. Yeah. It ain't the sort of work you do in training first. No. You cannot do it in training. Yeah. It won't happen. Yeah. So that's how I progressed to that level. Yeah.
So while we're still on deadlift, I've got to ask you, someone who a lot of people know, Eddie Hall is obviously known as pulling 500 kilo, half a ton, first man ever to do that. A lot of people thought that was impossible. What do you think of that lift?
Incredible. Yeah. To be honest, I mean, I've seen Eddie train. I watched the videos. I mean, I don't know him well. We see a lot of competitions. We're not friends. You know what I mean? We don't chat every week or something. See him at shows, say hello, have a little chat. When I saw him pull, I competed against him in Giants Live in 2014 and 15. And he was around a 420 puller back then. And then he started progressing. He changed his training up, started introducing a bit more speed work into his deadlift training, similar to what I do. Yeah. I used to do heavy speed in the same session, and I believe Eddie went heavy week, a speed week, alternate weeks. Right. So similar to what I did, and that's the way to get strong, by doing speed work on deadlifts for the bigger guys. Right. It definitely works. And I noticed his deadlift started to progress. You know, 440s, 450s. He did 465 or 463 at Giants Live, and he dropped it. So Benny beat him.
I remember that. Yeah.
He had the lift. He just dropped it. But he had the lift. He pulled it. Then he did Australia. He broke it again, didn't he? Australia. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, that was the one in front of Arnie.
Yeah, 466 or 467. He beat the record by a kilo. Yeah. And then obviously, when you get to that level, like I got to 440 level, the next barrier after that, for them 460s, is a 500. It's right there. Yeah. I mean, that's what people don't understand today. They think lifters are beating it by a kilo, but the barrier is the big barrier, like 1,000 was to me. A 500 is the next barrier. So if you're at 460s, 467s, the next step is a 500. Yeah. It rounds it off. Then you're the first one to do £1,100. And then after that, you increase it up in little bits until the next barrier comes along, and then you chase that barrier. Yeah. But I thought it was incredible. And I didn't honestly think he'd do it. I didn't think he'd do it. I had him like probably 30% doing it, 70% not doing it. Yeah.
But I mean, if you watch, sorry mate, if you watch, like, I've watched a few videos of him like in the lead up to his training, and he said he trained for like a full year just deadlifting.
Oh, of course,
you've got to focus on that one lift.
You've got to do. I mean, it takes everything from you.
Yeah, and I remember one of his videos. It was talked about at one of the events, and I think the guy who runs Strongman said, or Eddie said, sorry, to this guy, how much would you give someone if they pull 500 kilo? And this guy said a stupid amount of money, and then he was like, right, I'm going to do it. And obviously the driver for him was financial, but obviously he did it. You know, he pulled the 500 kilo, and obviously watching the lift, which I'm sure a lot of people have, myself and you included, it moved quite comfortably.
It did. It was strong lift. Yeah, it was strong.
It didn't wobble off the floor on lockout. It took a second or two, but there was no real dramas there. You know, it wasn't a fight to get it up for 30 seconds or whatever.
Exactly.
So I think it's a testament, but I believe that Thor's trying to beat it, isn't he?
He is, he's good for the 501, isn't he? Yeah. And I know there's a lot of talk about this, and it's a tricky one because I've always believed, like when I broke my £1,000, I did it in a full powerlifting competition.
Yeah.
Scott Mission did it, did £1,000 at the end of the show. Everybody could see it. Then when I had my record broken by Benny, he did it at like an expo, deadlift only expo.
Yeah.
Where in powerlifting you wear certain equipment where you wear leotard. Benny had shorts and a vest on.
Yeah.
So it wasn't official powerlifting equipment, and it wasn't a proper powerlifting competition. It wasn't the plates they were using. I've never seen the big silver plates. I don't know what they are.
Yeah.
No, I've never seen them again.
Yeah.
But the fact is, no matter how Benny did it, he still broke my record.
Yeah.
So Benny's still the strongest deadlifter in powerlifting.
Yeah.
People can say, yeah, it wasn't this, it wasn't that, it wasn't done the same way as I did it. He didn't do it after 3 lifts like I did, after squat and bench, but he still did it.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's still the biggest deadlift today. I mean, Benny pulled it raw. Yeah, he did. I pulled mine in a suit, but I'd also squatted 500 kilos before it and benched over 300.
Yeah.
So it sort of evens that
considerations, isn't it?
Yeah, it's different. It's just different. It doesn't mean it's right or wrong. People have got the opinions, that's all it is. I did it first. I did it first and second. I did 1,003, 1,008, and then Benny did 1,014. Yeah. And going back to the Hathor thing, I'll be honest, when he heard it at the beginning, he was going over to World Ultimate Strongman, and he was going in that competition over there with the deadlift. All the same setup, like Eddie did it. I thought, that's great, no problems with this, no problems at all. I hope he does it. I like Hathor. I want to see him do the record, I do. And then I heard, with this virus, nobody could travel. Then he was going over there by himself. No, there would nobody competing against him, but the same sort of setup. So I thought, oh, that's okay, yeah. And then I heard then, I mean, I don't know the facts behind this. I don't know. I heard it was his garage gym. That's what I heard. Yeah. Then I sort of, my heart sunk a little bit. I thought, this is a special thing. 501 for me is special, being a big deadlifter himself.
Yeah, of course.
In my eyes, when you pull a record like that, you want to wake up the next morning, you want everybody on social media to say how great it was.
Yeah.
You don't want people questioning it. He did it in this gym, he did it in that gym, there were no competition against him. It's still the biggest deadlift ever pulled.
But it's just
was
a
it under the
question.
same conditions that Eddie did his in official competition? You know what I mean? Things change. Because lifters, you go in order, you have certain time limits to go. Now, there's nothing they can do about this with these times we're in right now. There's nothing can be changed. And no matter what people say, exhibition lift, unofficial, official in WUS, Ultimate Strongman Federation, whatever it is, if pulled, it's still the biggest deadlift ever done.
Yeah.
501. You know what I mean? So on that side of it, people are still going to talk about it. Then people say, you know, it's not an official competition. Yeah, I agree with that. It's not. And that's something that's going to carry on being talked about for years to come.
God.
But same to Benny, he did pull more than me.
Yeah.
So people will remember the 501. So, but what's going to happen then is, so if you come to another full competition after all this is done, and Eddie's record's 500, done official in a full meet. Thor's done 5:01 in a just in lifting. It's got live stream and everything's there, so it's all official. The weights are right, everything's right. Yeah, he's still done it. Is it official like Eddie's? It's not in a full meet, but he's still done it.
Yeah.
It really is a tough one, you know what I mean? But then if somebody else comes along, are they going to try to break Eddie's 500 and go 5:01 when Thor's already done 5:01?
Yeah.
Or now he's going to go 5:02, 5:02.5. You see what I mean? Because that record, Giants Live, he's done it 500, Eddie. Thor's not doing it with Giants Live, he's doing it with somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's still more than what Eddie's pulled.
Yeah.
So now the next man comes along, what's the record? If you go to Giants Live, it's 500. So if you break 5:01, then people can say, but Thor's already done 5:01.
Yeah.
So to be the biggest deadlift, you have to go 5:02.5.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
I just think it's a shame because I like Thor, and I think he's a great athlete and he's a great deadlifter, and I'm 100% think he will pull the lift. He'll pull it, and I think he'll pull it comfortable. I just like Tim I'd like him when he does it to get the full support of everybody behind him.
Yeah.
He's done it.
Yeah.
But as it is now, it won't be like that. There'll be question marks.
No. Yeah. I mean, I saw Eddie Hall put a post on, I think it was last week, basically saying what you've just said in a nutshell, saying he wants someone to be, he thinks Thor's capable, but he would like to see it done in, competition conditions, just to say it's official, not done in his own gym, surrounded by all his entourage and stuff. So that does make sense. It does. But obviously, speaking of, go on, mate.
Go on. And also, when we having the deadlift record twice before the all-time records and having it beaten, when I woke up one Sunday morning, I remember Dave Beattie called me. He said, Benny's just broken your record, all-time record. And it hurts.
Yeah.
It does. I mean, people think, oh, yeah, you can go back and break it again. No, you can't. At that level, it's not that easy. It took me years to break it again. It took me 5-6 years to build it up the first time. And no matter how good we are, it hurts. When Benny broke my record, it did hurt. Because I'd trained all my life for that. I think, but you were the first man to pull 1,000, and that can never be taken away. Like Eddie was the first 500 kilo deadlifter. That can never be changed. And I agree, it does. But we all compete, and we don't like to see his records broken.
Of course. Yeah, it's a pride thing, isn't it?
When Benny broke it, I was happy for it. Me and Benny are friends. We still talk to this day, you know what I mean? Yeah. We talk. We're good friends. Yeah. But I still want to kick his ass and deadlifting.
So speaking obviously of records, your squat. So talk to us about your squat.
Yeah, well, not many people talk about my squat. I've always been a strong squatter from younger. And my squat seemed to climb, and always, the thing is, it was always behind my deadlift, you see, because people talked about my deadlift all the time. And I did my first 1,000-pound squat in 2003. And that's when you had Steve Goggins squatting 500 kilos, 1,100 pounds for the first time, same competition as me. And I looked at that and I thought, wow, this is crazy. But then years later, I can't remember, 2004, I went to Atlanta and I progressed. I'd done 455, 470 at the British Championships. And then I went to this show in Atlanta and I just remember squatting, I think I opened at 450, then I went 487. For some reason, it just felt so easy because back then I was in a full competition as well. So the numbers you squatted, we trying to get you the win overall. You see, so
overall numbers,
numbers. Wasn't bothered about a squat on a deadlift. It was all about overall.
Yeah.
I did 487. Then I remember Steve Goggins had squatted 500. So then Dave Beattie went to table and he said, "Well, what's the biggest squat?" So it's still Steve Goggins. He goes, "Yeah." He said, "Can you put 505 on for Andy?" Because I said, let's go for world record. He goes, Dave goes, "Are you sure?" I said, "Yeah, we've not to lose, 505. But then we had 4 more lifters. There were me, Gary Frank, Paul Childress, Brent Maiskull, but we were all going for over 500, 502. So someone went 502, 2 or 3 of them missed it. So then I put in 505 to beat them. If they got it, I'd go 505.
Right,
So they all missed it. So I said, just leave 505 on, and I got it. I got 505. I'd never squatted over 500 before. I'd gone from 47 to 505, yeah. Just with strength, just went, I don't know where I got it from. I really don't know where it came from. But then somebody else went to try to beat my record and they all failed. So I had the all-time squat record for the first time ever. But then I went to bench press and I bombed on bench.
Right.
So I lost the record. I lost it again. But then I went back to Arnold Classic 3 or 4 months later and I squatted 510. Wow. Then I squatted 510, 520. And then it come to 2006. I saw Jeff Lewis go against me and he squatted 550. And it crushed me overall. It just beat me. So I thought, right, next year, 2010, I'm coming back. I'm going to beat him. So I come back that year, and I remember feeling so strong that year. I opened up at 490. I mean, in training, I went up to 420 in training.
Right.
Just an half suit, no briefs, no nothing. Just a pair of old knee wraps. I squatted 420. Wow. Then I put my equipment on for the first time at the competition, and I warmed up to 440 in the back. And I remember squatting it so fast, it come off my back. I lost control. Wow. I dumped it behind me. On all west side guys turned around, and I think it was Louis who said, "Mate, who's that?" He said he's never seen somebody squat as explosive as what I just squatted 440. It come up that fast, the bar lifted off my back, and I dumped it because I couldn't control it. I'd have stepped forward, calmly, sat down, towel back over my head, and I was ready. And I opened up at 490. Opened up at 490 that day, and I crushed it. Yeah. And then I went, let's go. So my PB squat was 520. So my second attempt that day was 527, which I'd never done. And I crushed that as well. It just went up. And I turned to Dave Beattie. I said, "What's the biggest squat again?" He goes, 550. Jeff Lewis last year. Let's put 550.5. He says, and they went to the table and they looked up at him. Are you sure? He goes, "Yeah, you can do it." And I remember lifting that weight off. It's the first time ever I've lifted a squat off and thought, "Fuck, this is heavy." Even 520s didn't feel like this. It just felt like it was crushing me. It felt like my spine had just crushed. Yeah. And I thought, right, okay, let's go for it. Because that sort of weight, you can't do that half-heartedly. You've got to attack it fully. You can't have no fear. You can't be scared of anything breaking. You've got to really commit.
Just got to do it.
I went down, went as low as I could. I felt my legs wobble side to side a bit. I started coming up. I felt myself falling forward. I pushed my toes down hard, trying to get myself back into balance and into a straight line. I remember getting to the top, and I was falling a little bit forward, but I held it long enough for the centre ref to say rack. Yeah. And I went back into the rack. I couldn't believe it. It was like 550.5. But then I went backstage. I had 30 minutes to get my kit off, get warmed up for bench, and come out for bench press. Wow. So that's the difference between single lifts and full meets. Yeah, and then I went on to bench 317, I believe, 310, 317. Then I went back again. Right, 45 minutes. Let's get deadlifting. And then by this point, my legs were cramping up. Dave Beattie were massaging my legs. My legs were done. I was tired. He says the all-time world record, you need 417 kilo deadlift to pull the all-time world total record. So I'd have had the squat all-time, the deadlift all-time, and the powerlifting total of all-time. 3 out of the 4 all-time records at one go. Wow. He said, "What do you want to do, Andy? You've got 2 choices. We can open light, like 340, just to let you recover, and then pass your second lift and go straight to 417 for the record. Yeah. Or we can just open on 417. I said, just open on 417, just put it on. So 45 minutes rest, 417 on the bar, and I pulled it comfortable. Wow. I pulled it comfortable. And it gave me a 1,273 kilo total, just over 28 pounds, which broke Gary Frank's all-time record. So I had the squat record. I'd deadlifted 1,000 the year before, so I had that all-time record. And now I've just done a total world record, all-time record. So I think I'm the only man still to have all 3 of them records. Wow. And then I tried 457, which would have beaten the £1,000 from the year before. before I actually did a 457 a few years later. And I got it to my knees, and it was just too much. But if I'd gone 440, I'd have pulled 440 that day, and I'd brought 1,300 kilos.
Yeah.
But you can look back and say,
I think you've got a good number of records there, mate. I won't be too disheartened with that one.
Yeah, I've got a few. Yeah, I was quite happy that day. Yeah, I was very happy.
Yeah, I can imagine.
The funny thing is, the 550 squat, it never happened again. It never happened again.
Has no one else done it again?
No, I think guys have beaten it since then, but I never did.
Right.
My biggest squat after that, 520.
So that was the only time you touched it?
Yeah. It never, and then I went to 470s. It's almost like my body had said, that's enough.
That's your max. You're not going any
heavier. There's no more lifts in here. But then what happened a few years after that, I started getting almost, I was thinking about the squat too much. A little bit of fear started to come in. Because as you get a little bit older, and after you've squatted weights like that, if anything's going to destroy your body, it's a squat. If something goes on a squat, you're not going to get saved.
No.
So it almost like when I went to the weight, I remember trying it again in Bournemouth. I tried 560 in Bournemouth. And the first one, they say the bar was misloaded. So there were 20 kilo more on one side than the other side.
Bloody hell.
Now, today, I don't know if that's right or not, but people were sending me pictures of a still photograph of both plates, and there were different plates on each side.
Right.
And when I went down, the first one, I stood up with it, and I started falling backwards. And with 500 plus kilos, you can't move your feet.
No.
So as I'm falling backwards, I'm saying to the spotter, take it. Because I'm falling, I can't do anything about it. And as I'm falling, the spotter's moving further back. Rather than standing against me before I get to the back, he can stop it. He can stop it like that in an instant. But as I went back, he went back. And it ended up coming on my arms and just coming straight off my arms. I didn't mean to dump it. It happened in a split second. It was gone. I mean, I've never dumped a weight off my back ever.
Yeah.
So it wasn't something I'd just dumped off. It just went.
Yeah.
I thought my arms were going to break. It went right back. It just fell off.
Yeah.
And it hit the spotter behind. And luckily, he went down flat. Otherwise, if his legs had been up, it'd have crushed
under
his
him.
legs.
Yeah. Bloody hell.
So then I attempted it again. I thought, let's go again and do it on the third lift. So this time I got to the bottom of it, and I twisted one way, and I couldn't get up. So that's the first time I've been buried by a squat, and it took me out. But then after the first attempt, I bust my knee. I could feel my knee pop, something in my knee pop.
Wow.
But because I'd taken painkillers before, so because the knee wraps were so tight, take a Voltarol injection to kill all pain, anti-inflammatory, it kills all pain, so you didn't feel it. So then I went on to bench 290 at the same show with a bust knee, and on deadlifts I pulled 380 opener, 410 second, 440 third, all comfortable. And the next day I couldn't walk. My knee was so swollen. I had knee surgery a week later. I had knee surgery.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, so I had something to my patellar tendon had been all fluid in it and everything, so that's draining everything out and stuff. So that would be really then. No big squats after that, really. No big squats.
So what I know you've obviously mentioned at the beginning about injuries. So what are the injuries that you've had?
What have I had? I've had torn bicep at the beginning. With the last strongman show, 99, I tore my bicep, left bicep. It was doing strongman. It wasn't doing powerlifting.
Right.
Obviously, the knee surgery, we've fallen over with that squat. I've had bone spurs removed from my elbows with benching. I've had an abscess, a quad tear from just above my knee to my hip. That were cut open. What else have I had? Not that bad, nothing bad really for me, honestly. I had a disc, L3, L4 crushed when I tried deadlifting with no belt for a while.
Yeah.
Felt a pop and then all my legs went numb.
Bloody hell.
But then I still recovered from that because 12 weeks later after that, I pulled 410 again. Yeah. So that wasn't too bad.
Madness.
But as far as injuries like that, not that bad. You know what I mean? I've never had a real back problem really, apart from that one time
Yeah.
no belt.
Yeah.
Chest, never the pec tear. Knees,
I was
small
going
knee
to say, pec
surgery.
tear's quite common, isn't it?
Yeah, but I used to
Strong
always
man.
bench with quite a close grip
Right.
to save your pecs, you see. So I never did it. I never overtrained, things like that. You know what I mean? I was always very careful.
Yeah. Train smart.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
thing. It's all about training smart. If you want to progress in any sport, strongman, powerlifting, you've got to train smart. Otherwise, you're not going to get to your goals. And people seem to want it all very fast now. They don't want to wait and put the time in. It took me 5-6 years to build a deadlift record. It took Eddie 3-4 years to build up from 2014, 13, work. And people say, yeah, but you only trained for a short time for that. Ever since, whenever you start strongman and start powerlifting, you're deadlifting.
Yeah. So it's obviously going to progress from there.
You're training for an ultimate goal, aren't you, all the time?
Yeah.
You don't just train a few years for this. You train all your life to get to that point.
Yeah.
You might be only 3 or 4 years before that when you realise it's possible.
Yeah.
But you train all your life for this stuff.
Yeah. So obviously now you've obviously for your injuries and obviously your surgery, which you've just mentioned, you've kind of turned your attention now to more like the educational side, haven't you? So helping other people.
Yeah.
So you've got like ebooks available, and you offer coaching as well, don't you?
Yeah, one-to-one coaching, group, do workshops. I go to seminars, online training.
Yeah.
We do all this. I started all this after the 1,000-pound deadlift, to be honest. I started doing this. But back then, while I was still training at that level, I just assumed that everybody would get strong on my way of training. I was naive, you see. I didn't know. I thought this is the way it works for everybody. And after training a few people my way and realising it doesn't work for everybody, because I'm gifted in, genetics. I'm very explosive. My mindset's strong. Not everybody's got them things.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you can't get stronger, but not everybody can pull 350 in training like I did, and then go up 100 kilos more.
Yeah.
3 weeks
different
later.
for everybody. Everyone's unique.
Of course it is, yeah. And I soon realised the smaller lifters, the women lifters can do a lot more. They can push a lot harder. Smaller guys, they can push a lot harder. I never did good mornings, any special glute work, and now I put them into people. I thought you don't need them. I never used them. You don't need them.
Yeah.
I'm naive. But now I put them in for people, and after 3 or 4 weeks, people notice a massive difference in the deadlifts.
Wow, that's good.
I've learned a lot now with coaching.
Yeah.
On the individual lifter, it's all about them. It's not about me.
Yeah.
The goals are. And
so
I almost expected.
Go on, mate. No, go on.
I almost expected everybody to be like me and have my mindset and want the same from it that I wanted from it.
Yeah.
But that's my problem. Not everybody wants it to that level. Not everybody's willing to sacrifice their life for this and risk like I did.
Absolutely.
And everything that happened to me.
Yeah. So what is that like a passion of yours to help other people? Because obviously it's something that you're doing actively at the minute.
Yeah.
Is that kind of where your focus is at the minute?
It is now. It never was at the beginning. I was doing coaching at the beginning, right at the beginning, of 2006, 2007. I'll be honest, it was for the money. Because I was popular.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to coach people. I didn't know. I had no qualifications in that. It's just what I'd lifted myself. Now I'd learned with a team around me and seen how different people do it. But as I went on, I learned more. And obviously my lifting now is not at that level anymore.
Yeah.
And last probably 5 years with coaching, I've tried to learn more, read more stuff about other people's routines, talk to people more, find out more stuff. And we almost experiment with different people's plan, put things in, take things out. Because not everybody, things are going to work for, Some people can do more, some people can do less, some people get tired after a few weeks of training hard, need a back-off week, different assistance movements. Yeah, it's completely different. I'm a big believer in speed, keeping the weights moving fast and not destroying yourself in training into a competition. But I also believe there's a time for the heavy work off-season, but you don't need to be proving to yourself you can lift competition weights in training 3 or 4 weeks before competition. It's no point. You should already know by then. what you can do. I have
Yeah.
an idea.
Yeah. So what we'll do is at the on this video as well, mate, we'll link all your socials and all the links to your ebooks and access to your coaching if anyone's interested, and they can contact you through there. But a huge thank you for coming on today, mate, and having a chat with me, talking about you and your history. Really appreciate it. We'll obviously advertise this across our social media and YouTube and stuff like that, and we'll send the links over to you as well. But I really appreciate that, Andy. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you, mate. No problem at all.
Look after yourself, mate. Thank you.
And you, mate. Thank you.
Cheers, mate. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.